in the 5 years since the book has come out, I've seen, and I think everybody else has, pendulum swings in our attitudes towards climate change in particular and world history more generally. And I guess I'm going to venture that there are more pendulum swings to come, that the act of pretending that we're not in trouble, sticking your head in the sand, or even actively trying to wreck science, that this can only go on for a while before it leads to small catastrophes, but it also leads to a generalized sense of dismay or disgust, repulsion, that reality bites. And as reality continues to bite, by which I mean people continue to die, things keep happening that you can't deny, that there were more and more people saying, look, we actually do have to cope with reality itself. So this is my impressionistic sense of how things have gone, and the moment that we're in now is very, very weird, but maybe they all have been.
Welcome to the Mongabay newscast. I'm your co-host, Mike DiGirolamo. Bring you weekly conversations with experts, authors, scientists, and activists working on the front lines of conservation, shining a light on some of the most pressing issues facing our planet and holding people in power to account. This podcast is edited on Gadigal land. Today on the newscast, we speak with Kim Stanley Robinson, often referred to by critics as one of the greatest living science fiction writers. He's won multiple Hugo and Nebula Awards. Many of his books explore themes of environmental sustainability, economic and social justice, climate change, the biodiversity crisis, and science in general. In this conversation, he reflects upon perhaps his most well-known work, The Ministry for the Future, published in 2020. The novel is largely seen as a landmark in utopian science fiction writing. The story revolves around how the world addresses its many ecological crises through intergovernmental leadership and cooperation. In this expansive conversation, Robinson tells me what he might change about the book today and reflects upon the novel's positive impacts in the real world, explaining the book's challenges to the current world economic order and visions of a post-capitalist society. He also explains why he believes we are fighting a war of ideas, not just through literature, but through storytelling and journalism. And he expands on what he believes will help humanity fight this battle. I thoroughly enjoyed speaking with Robinson as much as I enjoyed reading his book, which I confidently recommend to our listeners. We won't spoil major plot points in this conversation, but we definitely tread ground discussing key themes and characters. He also previews his next work about Antarctica, which is due in 2026. Kim Stanley Robinson, welcome to the Mongabay newscast. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Good to be with you, Mike.
So I took the liberty of reading the entirety of The Ministry for the Future, which you've published some years ago now, but the book starts at the beginning of January 2025, I believe. So we're past that time now in real life. Would you change anything in your book today? Are there any reflections that you have that maybe you would reconsider?
Well, yes, I have many reflections. It's been 6 years since I finished writing the book. I finished it at the end of 2019, and I got a chance to do some last-minute revisions in the copy editing phase in spring of 2020 so that I could make minor references to the pandemic. But by and large, the book was finished before the pandemic hit in the spring of 2020. And, it's been 6 long years and a lot of stuff has happened. Many of the things I would change, I would have changed the next day if I had understood properly what I had done. It's not really the events of the last 6 years that has caused me to have second thoughts, but merely reconsideration, because there's so many elements in that book, some of which I'm quite familiar with, and others were somewhat new to me. So, I mean, to give you an example, I should never have used the word blockchain, because blockchain is a clumsy and antiquated technology that is now permanently associated with Bitcoin, which is a kind of a scam and energy sink of the worst sort. So what I really meant was simply digital money or cryptographic secured digital money, which already exists in other forms. That was a mistake that got a lot of attention because people are so entranced by that word. And if I had just not used it, I would have been more consonant, maybe not with this 2025, but with what I think will happen in the 2030s. There were other things that have happened since. One category might be there's a very late chapter set of the history of Hong Kong and Beijing, which stuff that's happened since I finished that book has made that particular scenario either unlikely or impossible. It's hard to tell. But it's the nature of the beast that trying to give a relatively detailed history for the 30 years coming, starting right now, or in the case, starting, say, a short time into the future, that's going to create a hit or miss situation within the first year. And that's the way science fiction always is. It's not a matter of prediction and getting predictions right or wrong. It's a scenario that needs to look plausible and fit within the constraints of reality, at least judged by the readers. And the novel is a kind of negotiation between the readers and the writers, a thought experiment where the writer writes a whole bunch of prompts, which are the sentences, and then the reader brings it alive in their own mind by an act of the imagination. So there's an intense collaborative aspect to novel writing and reading where, some better prompts might have had a better response in the readers' minds, but readers are generous and they are often intensely creative and are understanding that a science fiction work almost immediately becomes a historical novel. It's what people thought in 2019 might be possible to happen. By the time you get to now, 2025, you have to read Ministry for the Future as a kind of a vision from 2019. How well does it hold up now? Well, luckily, it holds up pretty damn well. But there are some things that I regret right from the start.
It's interesting to hear you say that, because you've said before that we're all in a science fiction novel that we're all co-authoring together. So where are we now in that novel, do you speculate?
Well, it's a good question, Mike.
Hey, and thanks for tuning in to listen to the first few minutes of this interview. There's a lot more to it. So if you want to hear the full conversation, find the Mongabay newscast wherever you get your podcasts from and click subscribe. You can also get each new episode straight to your inbox by subscribing to Mongabay's weekly newsletter at mongabay.com. If you really want to help support us, you can also donate to us at patreon.com/Mongabay. Don't forget to leave a review, and thank you as always for listening.